everyone. My name is Donnie Lowy from Closeoutexplosion.com. Hope you're doing really well today. Today I'd like to discuss with you buying truckloads of wholesale electronics. Electronics is definitely a very popular product. People buy electronics throughout the year. People buy electronics in the United States, they buy them overseas. People travel to the United States to buy the electronics that are available here. People go on Amazon, they'll buy electronics to take back with them, or they'll order for their respective countries. And what that really means essentially is that electronics is a good popular product, especially if the electronics are by brand names such as Apple, Sony, and so on. Now here's something very important you have to remember when you're buying electronics for export, whether you're buying by the truckload or by the pallet. If you're buying electronics for export, you have to make sure that the electronics will work in the country that you're planning on selling the electronics to. Often it's not an issue because you can use a converter. For instance, if you're selling electronics from the United States to Israel or to Europe, you can buy a converter. So it's basically a piece of small electronic plastic which you put in the wall, you plug into the socket, and you put an American power cord into one side of the socket, and the other side of this converter goes into the wall, and then you could use your American electronics, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Israel, or in another country that has a different system than the United States does. But having said that, you have to remember that certain cities are going to have a different supply of electricity. Some cities don't have an issue with an electric supply, some do. So if you are dealing with electronics, make sure that they are appropriate, that their use of electricity is appropriate and suitable for the country they're going to be dealing with. If, let's say, you have a dishwasher and the dishwasher uses a lot of electricity, it might not be appropriate for a country or a customer in a country where the cost of electricity is very high. And have in mind that if you're going to be selling, let's say, a dishwasher to a country where people are used to washing dishes themselves or can pay someone to wash the dishes, they might not be interested in buying that dishwasher. On the other hand, you can sell electronics to a country that might not, their customers might not be looking for specific electronic, but once you introduce into the marketplace, they might develop an appetite for what you're selling because they might realize the benefit of having it, whether it's a dishwasher or another electronic product, and you might actually do very well with it. Now, if you are going to be selling truckloads of electronic or pallets of electronics overseas, meaning you're exporting it, find out if there are any custom restrictions, find out if in fact you can sell those electronics into that country, and find out if there's any tariffs, what fees, because some countries you might have to pay 100% tariff rate on the electronics you're exporting. And if you are exporting, make sure, be very careful that you have an invoice to show the actual price of what you paid for those electronics. I'll give you an example. Let's say you export 20 DVD players to Nigeria, and those DVD players have an original retail value of $100 each, and anyone who looks at the box will see. They'll see the model number, they'll see the name of the DVD player, they can look it up, and yeah, they can determine what the retail value is. You don't want to pay a tariff or any fees on that retail value if what you paid for it is only, let's say, $50 per DVD player. And then of course you have to make sure if the country is going to tax you on what you paid for the electronics, or what the retail value of the electronics are, or the wholesale value, right? Because there could be three different values. You might have paid for those DVD players only $50, but if the country you're exporting to is going to levy a tariff based on the retail value, it doesn't matter what you paid for it. So you have to make sure if it's still affordable for you and for your customers after you factor in that extra tariff. Another thing you need to make sure is simply, if that electronics is still up to date, if it's still desired. With example of DVD players, with many people now watching movies online, watching them through their computers, watching it through cable, whether using Netflix, whether they have a package where they can watch HBO and so on, then they might not need to buy a DVD player. In a country where maybe the internet's not so reliable, where the cost of using the internet is very high, in that instance, in that country, then they might be predisposed to wanting to buy that DVD player from you. So basically what I'm saying is whenever you buy your electronics, whether you export electronics, whether you're selling wholesale domestically or internationally, make sure that you're selling electronics that are desired by the consumers that live in that country. All right, and this is true whether you're selling to customers in Guyana, customers in Trinidad, customers in Mexico, customers in the United States, customers in Canada, customers in Israel, customers in Lebanon, customers in Nigeria, wherever you're selling to, you need to consider everything we've discussed in this video. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. My website is closeoutexplosion.com. Thank you and have an amazing day.